and welcome back to another episode of Parallel Barking. I am your co-host, Ariana Backer, here with
Woof, 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 woof,
Larry,
Larry Backer.
Larry Backer.
And a
And
very exciting podcast it is, but you will never know, just to foreshadow, whether it's really me or it's an artificial recreation of my essence.
exactly, it could
That,
be generated by anything.
but I'll tell you, it would have taken forever to code my voice, it being somewhat weirdly unique.
Right.
So for my listeners, thank you very much for
And
having
so
patience to
aged.
listen. All right,
Any,
Paul. Anyway,
today we're talking about something a little bit similar to what you may have heard before. Our previous episode, we talked about an AI generated paper about itself. So an AI bot generated a paper,
about itself,
a research paper, fully,
which I thought was the perfect statement on the human condition, since that's what we've been doing for 30,000 years, is sitting around and writing papers about ourselves.
Yes, that was the first paper that it did.
So AI is now also going to need therapy. So it's a perfect
starting point.
We have really created it in our own image, which I think is hysterical.
So
we're going to have to invent AI psychologists so that they can sit and deal with AI neuroses, so that they will stop generating AI academic pieces that then get published, so that we can listen to them in more
yes,
more
this is why AI policy, AI
but
human
anyway,
right, no, AI rights is going to be very important. This is a whole new world. But anyway,
well, but it's going to be multiple personalities. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Okay. We're talking about this time AI generated art, AI generated images, and how that fits into the world of fine art.
All art is fine. People have the critical skills of an iguana.
Although some people, a lot of artists don't believe that all art is fine.
Well, no, well, tell them the story, and then
here's the story. Here the story is. An AI generated image recently was entered into the Colorado State Fair.
Now, in all fairness, there was no trickery.
No trickery at all. It was a digital division of the art contest, and it won first place. And quote, actual artists, living artists, let's say actual artists, are irate.
Well, some of them anyway.
Some are irate. I mean, so things like this have happened in the past with other technological advances, like the photograph.
And in all fairness, the entries were spectacular in a kind of kitschy way.
They are
spectacular,
gorgeous. They are
really nice,
amazing.
And just for full disclosure, they were AI assisted using a commercial product.
Yes, and it's called Midjourney. Many of you probably have heard of it. It's similar to the technology used in DALL-E, which is one of the earlier AI tools. I use that one all the time. It's
so we can become artists.
What you do is you type in, for those of you who are not familiar with these tools, you type in a command, maybe like a sentence of what you want the image to project. So I could say something like a purple fat hippo dancing in a vat of peanut butter.
I would buy that.
Exactly.
And reasonably priced.
And see what image gets collected, but it's actually a collection of images that will.
All right. So what do you think of this? Art, no art, do you care?
It's fabulous art. Of course it's art.
Would you buy it?
I would absolutely buy it.
Do you think it could be commodified, like art is commodified, so that
it already is being commodified?
So we're back to money again. Right. Does anyone actually look at this stuff and say, I want to buy it because I think it looks nice and it produces an emotional response that will be intensified on my wall?
Yes.
Unless, of course, you're buying this as an investment or to signal either wealth, position, caste, or because it's a better investment than gold bullion. Right.
Yeah. I mean, artists are angry because this is taking money out of their pocket, potentially.
Why is it taking money out of their pockets? Are they not able to access the same program?
Exactly.
See, what they're really, I think, perhaps a better way of describing it is that they believe that this is a different category of art. Whatever you believe art is, this is a different category of art. So maybe like men and women's sports, we ought to have two categories of arts: arts that produced wholly by people holding a brush or something,
okay,
and art that is machine assisted.
That's a little ridiculous. This was the amateur division of digital arts.
Yeah.
I think it fits perfectly.
Well, let's go low tech.
If you
wait, let's go low tech. You have an extraordinary ability to represent on canvas what someone tells you. I'm blind, but I am a really, really inspired person, and I have images in my mind that, but for my blindness, I would be able to put on canvas myself. I hire you. You're my hands and my eyes, and I describe in minute detail. And you and I have an affinity. Right. And I describe in minute detail what it is, my vision for what the art looks like, including color, tone, thickness of brush, the materials, and all of this. And then you paint it. Okay. Is that a problem?
Not at all.
It's art.
It's art. It absolutely.
But now you are no longer you. You are now an AI program. Art?
Absolutely.
All right, then, but what would the artists who are uncomfortable with the AI assisted art, do you think that they would react the same way?
See, I'm having a really hard time with this because I myself am an artist who uses, I partake in these tools.
Oh my God, I will take down all of your fake art. Burn it on the pyre of purity. But, oh my God, unless I can sell it for someone who really likes it.
I partake because I think it's fun. I mean, what I do, I use these for a number of different things to help me generate ideas. I actually use the images and then alter them on my own.
Or not.
I mean, yeah, sometimes I just take them and they're mine.
So here's a question. When you look at all of this, because we looked at this in a sense with respect to text, and now we're looking at it with respect to visual arts, but you can say this with respect to everything else. I sometimes wonder whether this is the negative reaction is really part of a much larger problem that we have in this in the globe today, and that is, for some reason over the last 10 or 15 years, the notion of purity, of purification, of purity campaigns have just descended, I'd say choked us.
This is a theme in our podcast, by the way, purification.
Well, yeah, no, and you know, so I look at this and I say, oh my God, this is just another purification ritual. You've got essentially a reactionary force of people who are quite comfortable with the caste structure of their production. And now all of a sudden there's a change in technology. And what they want to do is say, well, then you're not in our category. And indeed, what we're going to do is the entire production anyway, because it is impure. And because it is impure, it cannot be that which you say it is, in this case, art.
Well, yeah, it threatens the structure, the hierarchy.
But it is purity. And so in that context, although this is a longstanding purity campaigns, and it's tied to something else that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but one has to wonder whether, in fact, what we're looking at is not anything having to do with the art, or to some extent with the income flows of people who are doing this in a different way. Talent is talent. It just shows in very different ways. but whether indeed what we're looking at is purity campaigns in the context of increasing and increasingly broad attacks on categorizations and categories that have dominated societal organization for 400 or 500 years. And now all of them, either because of technology, because of cultural changes, because of political changes, all of these very firm categories are now being contested. And so what you see in all of these contexts is something that we all laugh when we say, oh, we're all progressive, blah, 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 blah. But actually what happens is that most people or some people who believe that they are open to something new actually turn out to be quite reactionary when it comes to this challenge of old categories and then inventing something new. They want to go back or hold on to the old ways as much as the people who will remain nameless, who also want to preserve everything the way it was before. And to some extent, it's a sign of the times, I think, but it really doesn't go towards this. And let me just bring up one other thing, and then you can, I want to hear your views. This is intimately tied in the art world to a debate that I've certainly read a little bit about it in the world of philosophy and semiotics and the like, in which the question is whether this is art or whether this is reproduction. And if it is reproduction, does that somehow affect, and this goes back to the purity, the traditional arguments have been since the early part of the 1900s, that when you mechanically reproduce, when you can mechanically transpose the spirit of art, usually through reproduction or imitate, mostly through reproduction, that somehow you have stripped the work of its connection to the divine, that it becomes something base and a threat to the entire spirit. And now we've taken it, we're no longer talking about reproduction, right? Everyone has gotten over it except the philosophers, because there isn't a college dorm that doesn't have some kind of paper reproduction up on their walls. But now it's actually the act of creation. And so,
well,
that's
honestly,
another argument.
For all that, all of that can go blow for all I care. I mean, think of Marcel Duchamp.
No, people don't like to think about Marcel Duchamp because he was too ahead of not only his time, but probably ours as well, even though he's been dead all these years.
I cannot think of a piece of art that I like more than his urinal. Just took a urinal fountain, slapped it on a pedestal, and said, hey, ba-bam. That's in museums.
But he's transformed it and he's engaged, yes. And one can talk about the urinal forever. He's transposed it. He's made a commentary. He's done all kinds of things, or he's just slapped a piece of of industrial design, put it up on a wall, and said, "Here it is." And
right.
and we've got a long
gave it a name, Dada.
Right.
I mean,
right. Or an artist who's, performance artist whose art is standing up against a wall of some character and eating an apple.
Right. Do we have to call this is this now like a movement of art? Will that make people feel better? I mean, my thing is
it's the humanity part that everyone is talking about.
Well,
that the art is inhuman or transhuman or not human or inhuman. And that
how much human interaction is necessary for you to consider it human? Humans created the algorithms, and the algorithms are collecting all of the information that was put there by humans. Everything.
Boom. Exactly right.
So I also want to address the categorization. Like, categorization helps people believe that they are right about the schemas that they've already developed throughout their lifetime.
It's a bunch of primitives trying to create abstractly order to a world that has its own ordering. It's almost pathetic in a way. It's helpful.
Well, it's something that we naturally do. It's something that everybody naturally does, but it's that doesn't make it so that it's right. It's just, I mean, we
Well,
categorize humans.
right, it's a tool, not a window to the soul.
Exactly.
And yet, like humans over the course of the last 30,000 years, you create a tool, and then all of a sudden, and this is actually the most horrible thing, you create a tool, and then eventually you worship it. It becomes the tool no longer serves you, you serve the tool. And we've seen this over and over and over again. And this is one of those examples. So we create, and I'm not talking about AI here, I'm talking about the intimate connection between the human, the brush, and the paint. That the brush and the paints become a tool, but now in the face of AI, are worshipped as somehow the divine connection between the image that is ultimately put on, right, and the connection of humanity to it. But that, in a way, is well, I was going to say pathetic. It's misplacing, and it reminds us how easy it is for humans to take simple concepts and simple things that are meant to aid you, and then turn them into divine objects.
Yes.
Which then enslave us.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything just makes it, what you're saying is it makes life easier. So that way I don't have to think.
But now do you have to worship? I mean, in a sense, there's only a small step between that and worshiping your dishwasher.
But the dishwasher makes life so much easier.
Which is why we must worship it. And I myself will begin to offer it sacrifices.
Of my dirty dishes.
Well, there's that too, and that would be one way of looking at it. But maybe I will offer it leaves of particularly pretty plants, or
wow, you're going that way. Okay,
I'm going, well, old school, right? But that's essentially it. Now the real question is, assuming that what we said is right, an additional real question, because there's a lot here.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy uses this program to aid him. I want to go to the question of authorship, right?
Because yes, I was going to go there with you. How
right, so go tell me your view.
How do you feel about him? In the article, it says that he made it very clear that he generated the image with AI, the help of AI, and the judges actually stated when they were judging, they had no idea it was AI generated. However,
they can't read.
It would not have changed their judgment either way.
Okay.
Because what they were judging on was the emotive response that they got, what
the object, what this process.
Exactly,
but whose
the art.
Object? Yeah, but my question, whose object is it? Who generated it? The guy whose name is on the entry form, or the coders who did who coded the AI program that he used, or the AI program itself as not a sentient, but as
well, then let me answer your question. Let me answer your question with another question. Do you share credit on your work with the developer, the AI developer who developed spell check?
Well, the reason I don't is that they've never actually satisfactorily gotten rid of all of my spelling errors.
Oh, is that why?
Right. So they've done, as you yourself have told me on more than one occasion.
I have.
All right. And no, but you make the absolute right point, which is where and it's the line drawing point. We use all kinds of tools. So one way of looking at this is saying that AI is no different than the brush. Do you credit the person who made the absolutely perfect brush that made it possible for you to do this extraordinary brushwork with your own hands?
Right.
The answer has traditionally been no. Do you credit the commercial company whose paints made it possible to bring out those extraordinary hues, right? Where do you draw the line, and why
The
is
painting
AI
company
different?
would really love that.
Oh, yeah, and here we're not even talking about art anymore. At this point, what we're talking about is
Pride.
property.
Pride and
We're talking
property.
about property.
Yes.
And
Money.
ownership.
Yes.
Right. And so in a sense, now we've gone far afield. So why are we really annoyed? In a sense, we're annoyed because it may not be the soul of the human, but we've already talked about how that's kind of specious and reactionary. In this case, what we're talking about is that, in fact, what is really at stake here is not the object. And to their credit, the judges said, look, there's all of this extraneous stuff around. We're just looking at the object. We don't really
they wanted to see how it tells the story.
Steal it from someone, it's the object. But the fight really is about everything but the art. It is about ownership, right? It's about challenge to the categories. It is about the worship of particular tools. It's about all of these things. And the one thing it is not is about the art itself. And that should give us pause, I think.
Yeah.
And besides, it's very hard to pay AI royalties. Right. At least the lawyers will be happy. They'll be able to spend 30 years trying to work up a jurisprudence of ownership and control rights, and in Europe, including artistic rights. So this will be a laugh a minute, but and that is an art form in itself, but it's a different art form. And then, to go from the sublime to the ridiculous, if that's the case, are we really producing art in the context of all of this writing and battling over the excreta that is produced by this thing in the form of new jurisprudence and the like? Is that art too, in a sense? And are we going to have to pay them?
Yes, we have to pay everyone. I mean, and what is also
including
hilarious,
us, because we talked about the art. So this is like publicity. We should send them a bill.
we should actually. I know. Also, what's hilarious about this is there are plenty of free versions of this AI out there. It's not like, I mean, you can get an upgraded version for a certain amount of money, but it's not like the developers are
right. But now we're into a very different discussion, right? Because it's very easy, almost seamlessly, to move from the discussion of whether or to what extent this is art, or art that belongs to or is attached to a human being, and or why do we care about whether it is or not, to where it really is, which is, where's the money, right? And where's the control? And in a sense, one of the most interesting things about talking about creative work, and we did this a little bit with the journal article, but it's much more in your face here, is that most of the fighting is, in a sense, not about the object. No one is actually reading the paper. No one is actually apparently looking at the art.
Oh my God, but it's so beautiful.
Everyone is carving up the residua.
Yes.
Right, the
minutia, the way,
not the minutia, the stuff that is excreted and
that's true,
around it, and that is very pejorative, but I meant it that way. Property ownership, hierarchy, control, influence, and money. Right, and so
I think that's minutia when it comes to art, but fine.
As a person who wouldn't mind getting some.
It's true. I wouldn't mind. You all can pay me for my art.
It's certainly consequential. It's certainly consequential. But in a sense, what we're doing is we're pretending, in a way, to be offended, but we may not be pretending to be very reactionary about this. And you can understand Artist X worked very hard to develop what now, to their horror, turns out to be a kind of reactionary way of doing things, that the world has changed. This is the same as the person who became the best 4-horse carriage driver in the universe, but it's now 1915 and everyone is driving a car, and he's going, oh no, this is not allowed on the roadway because it is not the essence of transportation, which requires a horse or other beast.
Right? Yeah. What are we going to do with all our horses? We have to take them to the glue
and this
factory
is horrible,
now.
and it really it takes away the essence of driving, and we'd all laugh. But in a sense, the arguments are very similar. They say, oh no, this is different, this is creative, as opposed to something else. But it isn't. It is, in a sense, the production of an object with particular characteristics involving a very specific set of relationship between the producer of the thing, the object itself, and its consumers. It's a basic semiotic relationship. And one can express difference in form and effect. I admire art. I'm grateful that the carriage got me to my appointment on time. But in a sense, it's the same kind of, now we're back into the world of AI. We're not in the world of AI, we're in the world of platforms. It's the same relationships, a signification relationship between users and consumers of things that add value, however you define it. Cultural value, social value, economic value, political value.
Well, yeah, and this stuff is meant to be shared. Case in point, DALL-E, which is an open AI that was developed by Google Imagine, and it actually, this is hilarious, part of it uses a version of GPT-3, the same AI that wrote the paper about itself. So it's all connected.
It is all, well, and so, but in another age, 400 years ago, or even 150 years, 100 years ago, Carl Jung might say, well, we're all interconnected through the collective unconscious. And so again, we're applying these analogies are not new. These connections are not new. They're being applied in different spaces. Technology has opened up the possibility of its transposition elsewhere, but the issues, the relational issues, the authenticity issues, and the consequential issues, money, power, position, caste, authenticity, and the like, have remained the same. And so people will, oh, is this still an expression, clutch their pearls?
It might mean something different now.
Yeah, doesn't it mean like you're they're kind of offended in a sort of early 20th century bourgeois Edwardian sense?
Yes.
Because you've offended them in some.
Let's go with that.
Doesn't mean something else.
It could.
Well, I was born in the year 4.
Yes, you're a dinosaur.
Yeah. All right, but anyway, so all of this, and then I asked myself, so here's the question. Maybe the real art in this case is performance art, and that the real artistic product that came out of all of this is
all of the reactions.
Yes, which is itself art.
Life is art.
Well, so we've been told, and at great expense. Someone in some of the art scenes have bought that and have proven it by putting a crowbar to their wallets. But yeah, that can be, in sense, art. It's the art of the neurotic. It's the art of the psychosis, which is the characteristic of this age. It is the French theater from the 40s, the 30s and 40s, now writ large on a very different stage. This is Waiting for Godot. This is absurdist drama that we used to pay money.
I would actually be very interested in that kind of exhibit. Just a bunch of either AI generated images of all of the reactions or videos of all of the reactions.
Which is itself, yes, brilliant, which is itself art. And so the art itself now produces art, but it's not the AI that's producing art. It's the art that is producing art using the canvas of the human. And so what you've now done, this is just so brilliant, you've now inverted the entire relationship. We tend to view art as a human through a set of tools, putting something, memorializing something on a set of objects, a canvas. But now what we're suggesting, the real art, is the canvas eliciting, right? The tool is the canvas, eliciting responses by a bunch of people whose own socially contextualized psychoses then becomes the art itself. And the canvas on which this is written is the media that is used to preserve these sometimes catty, sometimes absurdist, and sometimes profound, even if it's inadvertent, reactions. That's what we should be selling.
Right? And then who owns it then?
Oh, the lawyers own this, because it'll take us 30 years to figure that question out. In the meantime, they will be able to generate enough fees to send their kids to the finest schools in whatever country they happen to be practicing.
There you go.
So booyah. All right. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to end it. I don't have anything else to say to that.
Other than we are now engaging in art too.
Yeah, I would say this podcast is a piece of art. Actually, we've already made a couple of our episodes NFTs.
It's a piece of something else. So I'm grateful that.
Okay, you know what? Nobody thinks it's a piece of that.
Yes, I do. It's a piece of cake. It's a piece of, it is a
piece of
wonderful
beauty.
Little hors d'oeuvre. And I can think of all kinds of things, but you have a naughty mind, and you were thinking of one word that never.
The apple does not fall far from the tree.
Apparently not. All right. Woof, woof.
Bark, bark. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time.